Hey, hi everyone. I hope you can hear me well and you can see my screen. So, with that, again, hi everyone. Maybe good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to the sixth Cloud Virtual Summit 2024. And we are pretty much privileged to present our session on building the intelligent bots for Microsoft Teams with Azure OpenAI. So in this session, we will explore like how to harness the power of Azure OpenAI to create intelligent bot that can enhance the productivity, streamline the communication, and even it can elevate the Microsoft Teams experience, right? So this is what we are going to talk over the course of this session. But firstly, thank you very much to all of the sponsors who are sponsoring this event, and because of you, we were able to conduct this kind of an event. So thank you very much to all of the sponsors. So with that, let's get started. Quick introduction. Myself, Nandadeep Nathan. I'm from Pune, India. I'm Microsoft MVP for M365 Apps and Services. Author of books on SharePoint Framework, SharePoint Hybrid with SharePoint 2019, and Viva Connections. And on to the right-hand side, here are a few of the social media handlers to get in touch with me. And with me today is Smita.
Hello all, myself Smita Nathan. I am from Pune, India. I am having total 15 years of experience in M365 technology. I am a Microsoft MVP and Microsoft certified trainer. I am author of these two books and these are my social handles by which you can just get in touch with me.
Right, so with that introduction, let's get started. So this is the agenda that we will be covering throughout this session. So most of you might be familiar with OpenAI as well as Azure OpenAI, but we will quickly touch base upon the concept of those, how those are related, and then we will carry forward with our session by talking about Teams Toolkit for Visual Studio Code, which is a nice tool through which you will be able to create bots, apps for Microsoft Teams. And then we'll see like how we can build those bots using this Teams Toolkit for Visual Studio Code. And again, we will see like how we'll be able to make those bot intelligence by introducing Azure OpenAI into those. And then again, we will touch upon the topic of interest of everyone, that how we are able to bring in our own data to this bot. And then there we will introduce the LangChain. Okay. And then we will see like how we can use both Azure OpenAI and LangChain together to build those intelligent kind of an bots. So this is the agenda that we have got. Hopefully it's an interesting one for you. So with that, quickly touch base upon this concept of OpenAI. So OpenAI, in simple words, it is a non-profit artificial intelligence research company based out of US, and their goal is to advance the digital intelligence in a way that is most likely to benefit the humanity as a whole. So what this OpenAI can do, like it has got various capabilities, but the major ones are like it can generate the natural language. So for example, it can summarize the complex text for different reading levels, suggesting the alternative wording for sentence, and much more wonders it can do. So, specifically talking about this natural language, I want to just touch base upon two concepts. Like, first thing, it can have the text completion. So that means it is able to generate that as well as the edit the content, edit the text. So here we are talking about the generative AI. That means the content which is available as of now, it is able to generate the new content by looking at the existing content that it one has got. And the second offering that we have got here is embedding. For example, it can be used for search, classify, and comparing the text. And again, in this session, we are going to touch base on the concept of this embedding and how we'll be able to use those embedding in our applications. Second thing, it can generate the code. For example, if you want to translate the code from one programming language into another, or if you want to identify or troubleshoot bugs in the code, and much more things. Like for example, if you want to even write a code, it can help you generate that code in most of the well-known languages, including PowerShell, C Sharp, JavaScript, and many more. And thirdly, it can help you to generate the images. For example, you want to generate the images for publications from text description and many more things, so that it can help us to go ahead and generate those images. So let us see like how all these things work. So when OpenAI got in partnership with Microsoft, or they got into the partnership, the very well thing that got here is the generative AI. So Microsoft has got a relationship with the OpenAI to collaborate on the development of artificial intelligence technologies. And the partnership that specifically aims to accelerate the development of advanced AI system and bring the benefits of AI to more people. So Microsoft has partnered with OpenAI to deliver on three main goals. First one is to utilize the Azure infrastructure, including security, compliance, and regional availability to help all of the users to build the enterprise grade kind of an applications. Secondly, it can help you to deploy the open AI model capabilities across Microsoft products, including and beyond the Azure AI products, which also we are going to see. And then thirdly, like it can help you to use Azure to power all of the OpenAI's workloads that we have got. So this Azure OpenAI service gives customer kind of an advanced language AI with OpenAI GPT-4, GPT-3 codecs and DALL-E kind of an models with the security and enterprise promise of Azure. And Azure OpenAI co-develops the API with OpenAI that ensures the compatibility and smooth transition from one to the other. So as you can see onto the screen, there are various offerings that has got here. So firstly, like we do have just a prompt and response. So prompt is something like input by which we want to um, start the conversation, and then the response that we get. So here you can see that we do have some prompt like we want to write a tagline for an ice cream shop, and in response to that, GPT model can help us generate the response like we serve smiles with every scoop, right? So those kind of a thing it can work. Secondly, codex is it is very much kind of a set of models that can help you understand, generate the code, including translating the natural language to the code, and it is kind of a descendant of GPT-3 that has been trained on both natural language and code. So that can simply help you to generate the code or maybe have a look at the code and generate some kind of an newer code or find the bugs or maybe resolve those bugs, those kind of an thing. So as an example here, you can see that this is one of the SQL table that we have got, and we want to create a SQL query for all the customer in Texas with the name as Jane. And here you can see that the query has been already written for us, so which is a beauty. Thirdly, like we do have Dolly, which is again a set of models that can generate or manipulate images from natural languages. So you just need to give a prompt like I want to generate image of white seaside cat, and then it can go ahead and generate that response, right? And then ChatGPT is the one that we have been using into our day-to-day life for maybe generating some more catchy content or any other use cases. So that is all that we have. But now that let us see, like for example, if you are new to the OpenAI or Azure OpenAI, how you will be able to go ahead and create that Azure OpenAI service, right? Okay, so for that, let me just hand it over to Smita.
So this app, Azure OpenAI is not available for everyone. If you want it, then this is the URL by which you can just request for your access. So let's go ahead and check the demo how we can just create this service in Azure portal. So for that purpose, first you have to go to this Azure portal, and once you are here, then you can just click on the create resource, and you have to go through the wizard. We have already created the one, but for the demo purpose we would like to show you. So over here you can just type this Azure OpenAI or OpenAI, then it will give you the option to go through, fill all the details, go through that wizard. So this is the card available. Once you click over here, it will allow you to create this, and over here you have to fill all of the details like a basic details, network tags, review, and then you have to review and submit. So the first thing, you have to select your subscription, and then you can just select your resource group. If you don't have any resource group existing, you can just create a new one. Then you have to select the region. So region is the main important thing over here, because whatever the region you are going to select over here, as per that you will able to get all the models, you will able to use all the models. So in our case, that we are going to show you the demo for a dolly, and dolly is available with the east us. So be careful while selecting the region, and once you select the region, then after that you can just add some of the name over here, and then you have to go with this pricing tier. So let's quickly go ahead and let's check for this pricing tier. What is this exactly the pricing tier? How you can just explore. So the first thing you can just select the region. So in our case it's US, and the currency you can select as per your convenience. Then it will give you all the details of the pricing tiers, and then you can just apply that one. So over here you can see there are the language models available, base models also there, and the image models, embedding models. So everything is available over here. All the chart is available over here. So there they have provided all the details for the model. There's the context, there's a prompt and the completion. So in a simple word, nothing, prompt is nothing but the question that the user is going to ask to any of the, for example, let's say for the bot, and the completion, that means nothing but the bot is going to reply back. So whatever it's happening, there are some of the tokens we are going to use, and this is the cost allocated to that per tokens details. Yeah, so we will explore more later for this one. So for that I'm just selecting the standard pricing tiers, and let's go to the next one. So over here you can just configure, you can your network security as per your requirement. There are three options available. You can explore as per your business requirement. And then over here there are the tags available. For example, let's say if you are creating this one for the HR, then you can just tag it for the HR, and the value is also, you can tag it as a HR or the transport or any of the department you are doing, or any of the business. So as per that you can just select your name and value. Yeah, so once you are done with that, the next thing is the last one, very important, that you have to review everything and you have to submit. Once you do that, then it will create that one for you. So to save this time and the cost, we have already created one. So let me open this one. So over here in the overview details, you will able to see all the details over here. Currently it's active. The location, as I mentioned, you have to be very careful. In our case, we are going to use a dolly. So we have select the East US. There are some of the endpoints, manage keys are available there. So this API endpoints, we are going to use it in a course. There is a key and endpoints are also available over here. So it's the same like we are creating any other resource. So you can just go now and let's play. So over here, I'm just clicking now, go to this Azure OpenAI Studio, and you can see it will redirect us outside this Azure portal. The URL also itself is telling that OAI OpenAI, yeah, azure.com. So over here what we can do, it is like a playground for us. So before going to any production deployment, what you can do, you can just come over here and you can just select your model. Then you can just go to any you can do the deployment. Then in the chat section you can just play with that one. Yeah, so over here you can see whatever this region we have selected. In our case we have selected the East US. As per that, these models are available for us. So you can just select any of your model, whichever you want, and then you can see the status is succeed, and then you can just deploy. So the deployment will take the 5 to 7 minutes. To save the time, we have already done the deployment. So you can see the available deployed models are available over here. Yeah, so once it is done, then let's go ahead and we can just play in this playground. So this is the chat section, and it's having again the subdivided into the three sections. So this one is the deployment model. You can see the GPT Web Turbo is available over here. Yeah. So let's go and see and explore the one by one. So what is the system message? The system message is nothing but the behavioral of that system. What is exactly this bot is about? For example, if it's about something related to the learning, or it is something related to the cooking. So you can just provide all the samples over here, and that will define the behavior of your bot. So over here you can see it is allowing you to select some of the templates. So there are predefined templates already available. In our case, we will just keep it as a blank. As I mentioned over here, you can just give all the instruction, and it is the behavioral of bot. So you can just mention that whatever this bot contains, that information you can just mention, it will be the behavioral of that bot. Then you can just add one examples or couple of more examples over here. Like for example, let's say if it's the something related to the cooking, so I will ask that user is like how to make a pizza, and in assistant you can just add all the pizza recipes. And once you are done with that, you can just click on the add example. Okay, so that's about how you can just behave, you can just define the behavioral of your system. Yeah, so once it is done, then you can just go over here and you can see the deployment model is already we have selected. And then there are a couple of parameters over here. the response tokens is there, and then the temperature is there, is the topi is there, and all other things are there. So for example, if you are selecting it as a low, then you will get some more appropriate kind of results over here. So be careful while selecting this topic and the temperature. In the information icon, you will get all the details. Yeah. So we have seen already the left and right part. Now let's go and check the middle one. What exactly over here? So let's say, for example, if I'm just asking my bot how to make a pizza, and then bot will give me all the recipes for the pizza, that what are the things we have to take, and what is the recipe, how we can just make a pizza, all the instruction, ingredients, everything will be there. So this is a live example you have seen. So over here you can see this is a view code. As I mentioned previously, before going to your production deployment or production implementation, you can just play over here. And first you play here and then you're satisfied. Then you can just go ahead and you can just start with your production thing. So over here in the sample code, see what are the language available, options available for us. It's a JSON, Python, C Sharp, and curl. So for example, let me go to the curl, and over here you can see there is API keys already available, which I have showed you over here in that resource group. And then this is all this message that whatever we have seen the recipes of that whatever the question asked from the end user, and these are the endpoints and key we are going to use. Yeah. So that's it about all this playground. So now let's go ahead and check how we can just make it the demo.
All right. So with that, now we have got a basic understanding of Azure OpenAI. Now that let's switch the topic and move towards the Teams Toolkit for Visual Studio Code. Okay, so Teams Toolkit, for example, if you have not yet used that, it is kind of an add-in or plugin available inside Visual Studio as well as inside Visual Studio Code. So, for example, if you are coming from the open source kind of an background, in that case, you can use Visual Studio Code plugin for Teams Toolkit to create the applications for Microsoft Teams using JavaScript or TypeScript. If in case you prefer to do the .NET kind of an development, in that case, you can go ahead and use the same Teams Toolkit plugin from Visual Studio 2019 or Visual Studio 2022 as well. So it is just kind of an toolkit available for us to make it very much simpler to go ahead and start developing the apps on top of Microsoft Teams. So this Teams toolkit, it makes it pretty much simple to get started with app development for Microsoft Teams using this Visual Studio Code as well as Visual Studio. And Teams toolkit is available for free for Visual Studio Code, right? So this is the kind of a diagram that you can see, but let me just quickly go into my environment, and from there we can see. So here, hopefully you are able to see my screen. Yeah, all right. So here, I just have my Visual Studio Code open. So once you have the Visual Studio Code open onto the left pane, you should be able to see all of the extensions. So once you click that extension, just search for Teams Toolkit, and you should be able to find it as a first result wherein you can go ahead and add that extension to your Visual Studio Code. So since I already have it added, it gives me option to disable and install, but once you will add it first, from here you should be able to see the install option, and from there it can just restart your Visual Studio Code, and you will be able to proceed with that. Again, there is a nice documentation available onto the homepage of this, like how you can go ahead, create the apps and everything there. So let's say, for example, if I just open up the Visual Studio Code again, let us see like what are the things that we need to take care of whenever we are developing any apps with Visual Studio Code using Teams Toolkit plugin. So I have a new instance of Visual Studio Code open. So firstly, what we can do is we can go into the extensions, and then from there we can install that extension, and we are ready to use. So once you have that Teams Toolkit extension installed, you should be able to see that under the left hand navigation in the Visual Studio Code. Once you click that, from here, the uh, plugin or this extension is pretty much intelligent, that it can detect like from which location this Visual Studio Code is open from. For example, uh, if there is no project created in the past from that location, it can give you the option to create a new app, or it can simply open up the app if in case there is already existing one. So once you click on create a new app, there are various options available. Like you can go ahead and create a bot for any kind of an conversation. You can even create a tab, which can show some kind of an content, whether it could be a dynamic or static content into your Teams tab. You can also create messaging extension from here, and then you can also able to create the Outlook add-ins. So once you click on bot, here we have got other options like whether you just want to create a basic bot, or the bot which is having some kind of an AI intelligence on top of it using Teams AI library, and another part. So once you just create this bot, that's it. And then the benefit of using this Teams toolkit is that once you create an application or app for Teams using Teams toolkit, you can then only focus on your business logic, and rest of the other deployment part, this one will be taken care by. So here, for example, if you see, we do have few kind of an environment files, as well as we do have few kind of an infrastructure files. So for example, if I just open it up, we do have this bicep file, which can help you to deploy all of the needed Azure resources for the working of that bot or working of that app. And again, we do have this azure.parameters.json, where you should be able to go ahead and configure all those parameters. So initially, for example, if you had built any of the apps or maybe bots specifically for Microsoft Teams, then it is not a straightforward thing. You need to do some kind of an app registration. You need to create the Azure bot. You need to channelize that bot to Microsoft Teams, and then only you will be able to go ahead and start implementing your bot. But this Teams toolkit is very much intelligent and very much beneficial to the developers, that you don't need to go into those complexities of creating the app registration or Azure app service and everything. But simply from there, you will be able to focus on your business logic, and it will do all those things for you into the background. All right. So I will not play this solution as of now, but I just wanted to make you aware like how you will be able to go ahead and use Teams toolkit for Visual Studio Code, from where you will be able to create the applications or apps for your Microsoft Teams without worrying too much about the technicality of how you are going to deploy the things or how you are able to build the things. But you can just simply go ahead, focus on your business logic, and from there you can work on it. All right. So with that, we just have come to know like how we'll be able to go ahead build those bots for Teams. Now that we are just going to see one example wherein we have already built one bot, which is kind of a basic bot, and we are going to explore that bot, how that has been developed, and how we'll be able to add the Azure AI kind of an intelligence into that.
Okay, so this is the Novice Quest Teams bot, and we are a winner of that AI hackathon, which happens in June 2023. So, what is exactly this bot is doing? So, it's nothing but an interactive chatbot application that designs and allows user to test their knowledge on a specific topics with the help of power of OpenAI. So, you can just test your knowledge, not only the technical, but any general knowledge also you can just test. So, this is the sample screenshot we have provided over here. We will take you through all of that code also, and how the functionality of it works. So this is just a welcome message where user can select if they want to do the self assessment, or they can just check for the my stats. So self assessment, nothing but that you can just start with your assessment. Over there you can just select your topic, number of questions you want. And recently might be you have seen that how it works in Microsoft examinations. Whenever you are appearing for the Microsoft examination, it is giving you also one reference link also. So using that reference link, you can just check for the more information. You can come back and you can just complete your assessment. And my stats is nothing but that whatever the exams you have taken on the past, it will give you the entire score of that all your assessment. So let's go ahead and check what are the key features of this bot. So the first one is a very important, that's the topic selection. So you can just select any of the topic that can be a technical, non-technical, anything. And we are not storing any questions over here. So on the fly, with the help of OpenAI, it's the dynamically generating the questions. So whatever the topic you have selected, and then number of questions you have selected, as per that it will dynamically generate the questions for you. It is really very interactive quiz experience, as I mentioned, that it is the same kind of experience where the Microsoft examinations are also providing one you reference link. So we are also giving you over here one reference link. Using the reference link, you can just check for your whatever the information you needed. And also it is a very user friendly because we are providing all the data in adaptive card. And the last one is nothing but you can just sorry, but you can just check for your my stats. So
All right. So these are the kind of prerequisites that we have got. So we will obviously need the Node.js here to have the support for this. So Node.js version 16 as well as 18 are supported. Obviously, we will need the Microsoft 365 account. So, for example, if you do not have Microsoft 365 account, you can apply for for the one from the Microsoft 365 developer program, and then you will need the Microsoft Teams Visual Studio Code extension that we just have seen with the version of 5.0.0 or higher. All right, so with that, let us see like what is the architecture of this.
So over here we have provided one small architecture level of diagram. So you can see there is a user, there is in the middle, there is a team quest bot which is hosted in a Teams, and then we have this Azure OpenAI prompt and completion. So let's go one by one and check what is exactly the every component we have defined over here. So first one is the user, and user is saying, okay, I want to test my knowledge on a specific topic. It just starts its interaction with this knowledge quest Teams bot, which is hosted in a Teams. And then it is getting all these details from the user in form of prompt, and it is just providing to Azure OpenAI. Then using this deployment model, which is mentioned over here, GPT-35 Turbo, and then with the help of Azure OpenAI, it is just doing all this completion, and then it is just giving the all the questions in form of JSON, and we are just showing it in adaptive card. So let's see what is exactly this prompt and this completion over here. So user is saying that okay, that generate this much type of this much multiple questions that with the correct options and a reference link on the specific topic that is provided from the user. Over here we are going into the bit technical. It will be in JSON format because JSON is a very simplest way to process your data with the elements such as the questions. The question will be here, there will be the options, there will be the answer and the reference link. Yeah, so it's all about having this architecture level of kind of diagram, how it's happening. So the next thing is a demo. Let's go ahead and test our bot. So over here, so the first thing is you have to make sure that you have logged in over here in your Teams toolkit with your admin account. And if you're not, then please make sure you're just logged in with your admin account over here. Yeah, you have to first make sure over here. Just a moment. And then the next thing is you have to run this, run and debug. So over here, different profiles available over here. So I'm just selecting this debug in a Chrome, and you can just start from here. So once we do this, then you can see the beauty of using a Teams toolkit. It is just taking care of this app registration and the bot service creation. Whenever we are using a bot, then it is very important. And over here, you can see the Teams toolkit is doing and taking care of everything. So our headache is already taken care over here. And if you are worried that from where is it exactly happening, so over here, this is the Teams apps.local.yaml file is there, and everything is defined here. So From here it is doing all this app registration, bot service creation, everything is doing over here. So currently what exactly we are doing, we are just testing this bot locally. So we will run from here, we will test it locally, then let's see what are the bot options giving us and how we can just do our interaction with that bot. And once it is done, then again we will come back to the code section and we will explain you what exactly the main components like a adaptive card, environment variables are there, and there are also the config files. And the main measure is the teamsbot.ts, which having all our entire code. So now you can see we are just doing this debugging locally, and how you can just check for that one. Once it's loaded, it will give you this teams bot name, and it will just mention that okay, it's running locally, and it will give you the option to add that bot. There are different options available, whichever you will select. So as per that, it will add this one. You can see this is the knowledge base local, that means it's running locally. And here in the drop down you can see it is giving us the option that you can add it to the team, add it to the chat, add it to the meeting. So let me go ahead and add it directly. So it will add it as my personal app in the referral of the teams. Once it is add, then it will show us this adaptive card, whichever we have showed you in that PPT, where you can just do your self assessments and you can just start with this task also. So you can see the existing one already there is a self assessment and start. So once you clicked over here, then it will give you the option like a welcome or the learn. Yeah, so both are having their own different adaptive cards over there. Once you clicked on the welcome, then it will generate a new adaptive card where it is giving you some of the welcome message, and it is asking you for your next steps, that would you like to go for the select self assessment, or you can just go for your my stat. So first go with the my stat, and let's see whatever the examination I have taken in the past. So in the past I have taken some of the examinations, that it is giving me the title, number of questions I have selected, and the correct questions and the percentage over here. Let's go ahead and start with our self assessment. So over here, now it is just asking us to select the topic. So in our case, we will select the Microsoft Azure. Number of questions by default, we have provided the 5 over here, but you can just increase and decrease. Let's say, for example, if you are giving a number of count of questions over 50, and later on, once you start your self assessment, you think that after 20 questions, okay, I don't want to continue with the assessment, then also in that case you can just end your assessment, and whatever the number of questions the assessment you have given, on that basis only it will calculate your all the stats. Yeah, so it will not actually consider your 50 questions. So over here you can see there is it is showing the questions topic as you have selected as a Microsoft Azure. Question out of 5 is a 1. Then there is a question with multiple options over there, and then the main important thing is there is a reference link, and once you mouse over here in the bottom you can see it is redirecting you to the Microsoft documentation, where you can just select it. You can just check the data related to that question, you can come back and you can just select your answer. So over here there is a next question. I'm just randomly selecting any of the thing. One thing you can just observe over here, once you provide any of the answer over here, we are not allowing users to go back. It is having only the next question, but not the previous one. Only two options are available, next question or the end assessment. And we are just replacing the entire adaptive card with the new one. So it is not allowing you to go back. So let me quickly finish this assessment. I'm just selecting any of the random answers over here. Yeah. So this is the last one. And once we are done with that, then it will show us the score. Okay, so I'm very bad at it. So it's just giving me the score of 2 out of 5, and it's just giving this all the information. Yeah, so it's all about how you can just do select this self assessment and you can just go to the stats. So now let's go to our code, and in the code we can just see all of the data available over here. So over here you can just import this OpenAI, yeah, as is shown over here. And then the next thing is you have to check over here. So on this on message, we are just calling all this adaptive cards. So whenever this bot will receive a message, like it will receive either welcome or the learn. This is the first entry for our bot. So over here in the you can see for the welcome, we are just generating one adaptive card. So for the welcome, we are just generating one adaptive card. Let's go and check what exactly the adaptive card is contains. Yeah, it's nothing but a JSON format. So over here, you can see the welcome to the knowledge quest bot, and there is some of the text, and there are some of the actions that whatever the end user is going to take. So over here, you can see that there is a verb is also there. So bot will not able to understand what exactly the end user has selected. So for that purpose, we are associating that verb to that action. So bot will able to understand that what exactly the button has been selected from the end user. Yeah, so let's go back over here. The same way it's for the learn also. So for example, if you add click on the learn, then it will give a different adaptive card which having all of the information over here. I will not go through that one as it's having some of the text related information. The main point over here, you can see whenever we are invoking that adaptive card, so invoke when an action is taken on any of the adaptive card, so it sends an event to the bot, and this method handles all the events also. So over here you can see, as I mentioned, for the verb that we are passing that verb, so it just capturing what exactly the details has been selected from the end user, what exactly the button has been pressed. And over here you can see there are the two switch cases we have added. One is for the select self assessment, and second one is for the my start. So let's go and check what exactly this select self assessment adaptive card contains. So this is the select self assessment adaptive card is there, and it's having every details of actions over there, and whatever these questions you are filling, you can see the number of questions and everything. Yeah, and then I mentioned that there is a verb and there is a action dot submit. So this way it is just doing everything, and this is the code exactly gets generated. And over here in the bottom, once you get that everything the data is in the JSON format, it is just giving all the questions and all the answers and everything. Then it's binding that JSON data into adaptive card, and then it is executing. And over here in the bottom, we have added the code for the case for the next question. It is not allowing us to go to the back, and in the end, we are just calculating how much the correct answers are there. Yeah, so it's all about this demo of this knowledge quest bot. Thank you.
All right, so with that, let's move to the next example. So what I will do is, just considering the time that we have at hand, let me just go ahead and run this code, and then during the time I will cover the theory part. Okay, so what we have seen so far is we have our application. So it could be Microsoft Teams bot, any of the Microsoft Teams app, or maybe it could be just your website. And then from there, we are having a connect with OpenAI, or maybe Azure OpenAI APIs that we are using. Again, we are selecting our model, maybe GPT 3.5 Turbo, or anything else based on your requirement. We are setting all of those parameters, for example, temperature or topi, those kind of a thing. And then we invoke those APIs against LLMs or large language models, which consists of GPT 3.4 or GPT 3.5 or GPT-4. And then we get the completions from them, and then we show those completions to our users. So this is what we do typically. So now that, let's say, for example, if we just want to take that scenario bit ahead. So now that, let's say, for example, we have our application, that application talks to OpenAI, and now that we also want to introduce our own data, because we do have various data in our organization. Probably we want to introduce that data, and then also we want the power of OpenAI with us. So definitely we need some kind of an binding point here, which can help us to connect to the OpenAI. At the same time, it can also play on our own data, and that is where the LangChain comes into the picture. So LangChain is nothing but it is a framework that allows you to build applications using large language models. Okay, so this is the LangChain that we are going to discuss now. So quickly, like, why we should go ahead and use the LangChain. Okay, so first thing, obviously, we want to bring our own data. That's the reason we can go ahead and bring that using LangChain. Second thing is about, for example, if you have seen in the previous demo, we were 100% relying onto the Azure OpenAI to generate the questions and answers for us. But we cannot be totally relying on any of the AI subject, so that it is 100% accurate, that it can generate all the questions correctly on that topic and give the correct answers. But there could be scenarios that the generated answers or generated questions or the correct answers may not be correct, which is generated by OpenAI. So that means there is some kind of an hallucination. So if in case we want to breach in that gap of hallucination by bringing our own data, we can go ahead and use this LangChain. Okay, so that is the main purpose, like why we want to go ahead and use LangChain. So now that since we are moving to the next demo, I just want to quickly have some kind of a time spent onto something called as a semantic search. So far, or maybe at least in the past, we used to do all of the text-based kind of a search or maybe a keyword kind of a search. So for example, if you have used Microsoft SharePoint, then all of the search there works with the keyword search. So let's say, for example, if I search for legal, it is going to return me all of the content, all of the documents or files which contain that word legal. But probably it won't be able to return me the document or a content which is related to that. And that is where the semantic search is quite important. So let's say, for example, I do a search like what gear should I use going uphill. So that means here I'm talking about cars, that I want to drive a car uphill and I want to know like which gear should I use for driving that. Second example is like what gear should I wear in any of the cities. So Bangalore is a city which I visited last month. I just wanted to know about the weather so that I can prepare myself well for that city or city temperature. So here you can easily figure it out. Like I'm using the same word called as gear, but the context is different. When I talk about going uphill, I'm talking about cars. And when I talk about a city, I'm just talking about some kind of a location. So, but still, based on the context in which I'm using that word gear, it is able to give me the result, whether it is for automobile, for car, or maybe for a location or city, those kind of a thing. And how this one is happening is through semantic. Or this is called a semantic search, and how this one is happening is something with which is called as an embedding. So taking forward that example of gear, which is being used in the context of automobile industry or maybe in the context of location. So embedding here is nothing but the numerical representation of your text. So let's say based on the query that we fired in the previous screen, like which gear should I use going uphill and which gear should I wear in a city, we probably creating some kind of properties to define our embedding. So we do have few properties like related to, is it related to the mechanical device, is it related to the clothing accessory, and so on. So once, for example, the context is going uphill, we are giving some more values to the property which are associated with mechanical devices or related to the equipment. And when the context is in the we are in any of these city, in that case we are giving some more weightage or more values to the clothing accessories or weather adaptability or location specific. And this is nothing but called as a vector. So vector is nothing but a sequence of numbers that can help you represent a numeric kind of a representation of your text. So now that we have got one kind of a vector for a context of automobile and for a context of location, let's say if we take it ahead and if I ask you like now that I want to um, have a another search like how to drive AMT, that means automatic manual transmission. In that case, obviously, I'm talking about gear or maybe I'm talking about automobile industry. Then it can easily figure out this is the closest matching vector, and then it can use that embedding and give us the result back, right? So this is how all those things work. Just wanted to quickly highlight that to you. Now that with respect to LangChain, how we can use that. So we do have all of our data, our own data in the form of maybe URLs. So let's say, for example, in this thing, I'm just going to use my website, which is nandeepnathanblogs.com. And onto my website, I do have about section. Okay, before that, I just also wanted to show you something like when I asked ChatGPT about tell me the latest update on Microsoft Azure, it wasn't able to give the direct updates because the model just ChatGPT 3.5 model, it was lastly updated in January 2022. So that means there is a gap between January 22 and January 24 when we are meeting right now. So that gap we will be able to bridge using this LangChain kind of a thing, right? Okay, so coming back to this example, this one is my website, and here I do have few of the information about who I am, what kind of an work I do, from where I am, and then again my contributions and all those kind of a thing. So we have such kind of an public facing or any of the other URLs where we have our information. So it could be even SharePoint site as well. We do have the information in the form of PDF documents or just a database. So we do have our own data with us. So when we want to make a search on this kind of an documents or our own content, but using semantic search, obviously what we do is we do a splitting. So which is kind of a text splitter which breaks your documents into the chunks of a specified sizes. So these are the chunks or splits that gets created. Then what we do is in the third stage we go ahead and store those. So storage, which is often called as vector store, it will house and often embed these splits. So that means all of the chunks or splits that we have got out of our documents, it is now stored into the vector store. And then when the time will come, we want to retrieve the information. So the app will retrieve the splits from the storage, for example, often with the similar embeddings to the input questions that we have got, and then it can use that retrieval part. And now that when the time will come that we want to go ahead and return the relevant splits to the end user, so here the LLM can help you produce an answer using the prompt that includes the question and the retrieve splits. So here basically, for example, if you talk about the models that we want to use, firstly here we are going to use embedding model to do the embedding and do the splitting. Then when the time comes, we need to retrieve those splits. We cannot just give those splits as it is because one split could be from a URL, one split could be from a PDF, one maybe from a database. So again, we need to have the capability of generative AI through which it can re re kind of an assess all those splits that it has got and then regenerate the text out of it. So probably here you can go ahead and use GPT 3.5 or GPT 4 kind of an models, and it can help you give the prompt using LLMs. Okay, so this is the simple process that we have got, and then we are going to use the same process in our code to read the information or maybe do a semantic kind of a search onto my website. So quickly, technically, that we are going to use a few of the npm packages. LangChain, obviously, that we need to use, and Chair.io is mainly for the reading the text from any of the files or from any of the web-based storage that we have got. So that means my website. But yeah, with that, let's get into the demo. I just had that demo working, or maybe I just had that demo running. So now that this one is running onto the local, I will just quickly go ahead and click on add, and this one will get added as a personal app into my Teams. So simply what this demo is going to do is it is going to read out all of the information from my website's about me page. So probably I can just take this page into my VM, and from there we can see the demo one more time. So this is the page which I have got, and then I'm going to put all my queries to this bot with the database as my website. Okay, so let's say I will just ask like who is Nandadeep. So LLM, obviously they don't know who is Nandadeep, or maybe before that let's have some kind of an hello, hi, hello kind of a thing. And again, this is just kind of an provision for my code. I know that first of my prompt doesn't work well, it fails. So maybe this is just kind of a kickstart before we go ahead and start the start the conversation. So now that you can see that the bot is ready to chat, all that information is coming from here. But until we are getting the first result back, let us go through the code as well. So this is the URL which I was talking about, the about me page of my website. So here again, we are using the chat OpenAI as well as the Cheer web based loader to go ahead and have the jQuery kind of a thing done onto the document. And then we do have the text splitters. So when the time comes that we need to go ahead and do the splitting and everything. So this is a step number one where we load the data and split that data into the chunks. This is a step two where we use the embedding model and store those splits into the vector database. Again, that vector database could be anything, but for the simplicity of this demo, I'm just using in memory. In the third step, when we want to retrieve those splits from the storage, we can simply get all those matching chunks or matching splits based on the query that has been that has been queried, and then we just form a chain from the LLMs. And now that my bot is ready to chat, and whenever I will get any of the question or the question from the user who is using the bot, this one will get processed, and then all those splits will be taken care of, and then those one will be processed by the LLM, and it can go ahead and chain all those information together, generate a new text out of it, and send it back. So this is the thing, like it is asking me like how I can assist you today. So I can just ask like who is Nandadeep, okay? Because now that we want to bring our own data, which is in the form of my website, and it can go ahead, it can retrieve that chunk of information from here. So you can see that all this information which is here is coming from my website, okay? Because LLM doesn't know who I am, but I have just configured this LangChain so that it can go ahead and read out the information from my website. So I will just say like, does he like reading books? Okay. So now that you can see that I'm not even referring myself as Nandadeep here, but based on the context, which I already have said that he, that means Nandadeep, that I want to have this conversation going forward, it is able to get all that information. And here you can see that yes, I like reading the historical books, and as well as I'm a big fan of Sherlock Holmes. Again, all this information is coming from my website. Let's say, for example, I can just search for that. Okay, and here you can see that I like reading the historical books and big fan of Sherlock Holmes. But again, you can pay one more attention that it is not returning this result as it is. Like I like reading historical books, but it is doing all of the natural language processing on top of it using LLMs and returning the results. So let's say we just do one more. A round of testing here, or one more question is invalid, so it can, hopefully it should answer. But yeah, and again you can see that yeah, he is married and includes all those kind of and family members, right? So this is how we'll be able to go ahead and bring in our own data to our business using LangChain. So this was a very simple example, but again, as I said, that data could be in the form of anything. It could be just a URL, it could be in the form of documents, it could be in the form of database or anything. But this LangChain can help you get all of your data into your application, right? So that was a quick demo, but I guess that was could be an effective one, which can help you get your data into the AI ecosystem. So with that, few of the resources before we end the session. For example, if you want to learn more about LangChain, refer all those links that you can see onto the screen. For example, if you want to go ahead and try out Teams Toolkit, have an overview, as well as go ahead and install that Teams Toolkit and start exploring. At the same time, these are a couple of code samples that we just have shown to you. The first one is for the knowledge quest Teams bot, the question answer bot. And then the second example is about LangChain bot, which can help you to get your own data into the AI ecosystem, right? So these are the two code samples. If in case you do have some interest to go ahead and explore those, those are built onto the TypeScript using the Visual Studio Code and Teams Toolkit, right? With that, thank you very much for having us. Thank you for this opportunity, and hope you like this session. Thank you very much.